meeting is being held during the COVID-19 crisis, and this is going to follow all of Ohio open meeting law, uh, open meetings law requirements under amended House Bill 197. All the calendar for this meeting has been provided to all council members, and since there is no vote, I don't need to tell you that if your picture is not present, you will not have a vote. The purpose of today's meeting is to continue our conversation regarding digital divide in the city of Cleveland. We had an initial hearing on it, and there's two issues that that are for discussion today. The first is we are going to contract with a company called Navarum, who they do a lot of work in City Hall. They've lit up City Hall, Public Hall. They've also do the old Brooklyn Connected project. So they're very well versed with the city and the assets of the city. But what we're wanting from this is a plan that we can kind of get around, like something that looks at all of the different options that are available and gives us a common plan that hopefully we can agree upon of this is the path forward for the city of Cleveland to reduce this digital divide. The folks at Spectrum have also approached me, and I believe they've called every member of council along with your executive assistants and your parents and your kids to talk about a solution they're proposing for CMSD kids, Cleveland Metropolitan School District kids K to 12. And this is kind of a parallel track of what we're doing in terms of getting the entire city connected. Is, we have a crisis in the K-12 arena where they are all learning virtually at this point, at least for the first 9 weeks of school. And we know that many of them do not have a reliable daily connection. So what I would like to do is hear from Connie Luck from Spectrum. And what I am really listening for is, of course, we have an interest in our K-12 students having connectivity, but also what can this mean for the rest of our residents that don't have students K-12? And is there an affordable way is there something we can take from this presentation that we can present to our constituents that may not be K-12? So with that, Connie, I want to thank you for coming. And do you need to share a screen or anything?
Not right now. I shared some documents with you, and if you want to share those, we have some attachments that maybe after the conversation would be helpful, but I just plan to speak without slides, if that's okay.
Okay, let's speak without slides because when did you send that email? Was it today?
I believe it got sent this morning or right maybe an hour or so ago with my written testimony, and then basically the RFI documents that we use to respond to the state, which supplements a lot of what I'll talk through today.
Okay, I do not have that. I had not opened that previous to this meeting, but I will forward that to all committee members.
Okay. Great.
Thank you. So, floor is yours, Connie.
Great. Well, thank you all. Good afternoon, President Kelly, Vice Chair Zone, and members of the Finance Committee. And again, thank you for the opportunity to speak today. As President Kelly said, I'm Connie Luck. I'm the Regional Senior Director of Government Affairs for Charter Communications. But before I get into my prepared remarks, I just feel compelled to share a personal note with you all. While I've never lived in Cleveland, it holds a really special place in my heart. And for our company, Cleveland's always been one of the most important parts of our service area, which includes, as you may know, most of Ohio. On our government affairs team, Chris Thomas is based in Northeast Ohio and is very close to what happens in Cleveland. And also our consultant, Carol Caruso, who many of you know, is one of Cleveland's biggest cheerleaders, and her connections go way back to even the franchise negotiations between the city and Cablevision years ago. So among the three of us, Cleveland's well represented at Charter. And, as we know, unlike other major cities, Cleveland is really a city of neighborhoods, each with its own identity. And the diversity reflected by members of this committee is really valued and appreciated. And so while I know you and the work that you do on behalf of the city, you really don't know me. So if you would permit me, I'd like to share a bit of that because I think it would bring some perspective to our conversation today. You know, in normal times, my husband and I would be making many trips up I-71 to watch the Indians or the Browns or the Cavs. And in fact, are you a Cleveland sports fan was a question asked of me by my now husband on our very first date. So I clearly responded with the right answer, I guess, which was yes. But my memories of Cleveland actually start much further back. And most certainly I'm here today because my grandparents met while studying music at Baldwin Wallace. And in fact, my grandmother wrote the school's alma mater. Unfortunately, we lost her to cancer at a very young age. So my mom made the point to visit her grandmother, who was my great-grandmother, often to help ease the pain of a very wonderful woman who had to endure the loss of her only daughter far too young. So over countless weekends from my time as an infant and into second grade, my brother and I rode in the back of our Volvo station wagon on the Ohio Turnpike from Northwest Ohio to my great-grandma Wagner's house on Gifford Avenue there in Brooklyn. So unfortunately, my great-grandma Wagner, now gone for many years, passed away before she could watch the Indians begin their great runs in the mid-90s. But I know she was cheering them on from up above, just as I do, and my husband and I do today from Columbus. So I share all of this simply to say that I love the city that you all represent, and I appreciate the work that you do to help people across Cleveland, which for many years has actually included my own family. So I just wanted to share that little personal background there. But jumping back into my testimony, just to give you some background in case you're not familiar with Charter, we're a broadband connectivity company and a cable operator. We have more than 30 million customer relationships in 41 states. And through our Spectrum brand, we offer a full range of state-of-the-art residential broadband services to our customers, including obviously Spectrum Internet, TV, mobile, and voice. And for larger businesses and governments, Spectrum Enterprise provides customized fiber-based solutions. And we also, you may know, have an award-winning news coverage team that covers news in Cleveland and across Ohio and in several markets across the country. More than 95,000 Charter employees support the products and services delivered over more than 750,000 miles of network infrastructure. And this infrastructure passes 52 million homes and powers more than 300 million wireless devices across the country. And in Ohio, we have about 2.4 million customer relationships, and more than 7,500 of my colleagues and I are based in communities large and small across the state. And in fact, Cleveland and the whole Cleveland area is really a key employment hub for us, with about 700 of our employees living and or working in Cleveland, Garfield Heights, Cleveland Heights, Broadview Heights, Maple Heights, Independence, Strongsville, Beechwood, Mayfield Heights, and North Olmsted. And powered in part by these 700 area Cleveland employees, Spectrum services are available to nearly all residents throughout the city of Cleveland and virtually all of Cuyahoga County. But Charter is about more than delivering these products and services to our customers. We're really committed to improving the communities and impacting lives where our customers' employees live and work. And that includes our commitment to diversity and inclusion in all aspects of the business. With people of color making up 47% of Charter's workforce, our company strives to leverage the full diversity of our employees and our partners to make a meaningful difference. And as part of this effort, we've developed signature philanthropic and engagement programs to improve local communities we serve. Through Spectrum Housing Assist, we partner with nonprofit organizations and engage our employee and community volunteers to provide critical home repairs for those in need of a helping hand. And our goal is to improve 50,000 homes by the end of this year. In Cleveland alone, just since 2016, we've hosted 4 rebuild events, improving 54 homes, and we've served as a sponsor of Build a Healthy Neighborhood in 2016. We've also distributed more than 500 safe and healthy home kits, which come equipped with products like smoke alarms, LED nightlights, weather stripping, and cleaning supplies to help homeowners stay safe and healthy in their homes. Spectrum Digital Education supports nonprofit organizations that educate community members on the benefits of broadband and how to use it to improve their lives. And Charter launched this program in 2017 and has since committed to awarding $6 million in cash grants and in-kind donations to support broadband education. And since the program's launch, we have and continue to support Cleveland area nonprofits as they work to advance digital education opportunities throughout the city. Our Spectrum Employee Community Grant Program allows Charter employees themselves to nominate nonprofit organizations that they personally support. So while this program is still fairly new, in just the past year, our employees have already driven additional resources to the Boys and Girls Club of Cleveland, Manna Food and From Heaven, Open Doors, and Providence House. And with our programming partners, we've brought unique and exclusive national events to the city. In 2017, we partnered with Smithsonian Channel and the Cleveland Museum of History to host a special screening of the Obama years, The Power of Words. And in partnership with Ovation Network in 2018, we presented Art House with a Stand for the Arts Award. And in 2019, we again partnered with Smithsonian to host a premiere screening of The Green Book, A Guide to Freedom at the Cleveland History Center. At the beginning of 2020, we launched the Spectrum Community Investment Loan Fund to support small businesses whose goods and services help meet core needs in underserved communities within our footprint. And in May, we announced a $1 million investment in the Economic and Community Development Institute, which has supported Cleveland area small businesses since 2012. And additionally, I'm proud to serve on the advisory committee for the Spectrum Cleveland City Council Neighborhood Technology Trust Fund of the Cleveland Foundation, which since about 2000 has distributed nearly $3 million in funding to support neighborhood computer centers, technology training, and other efforts to support digital education. So over the years, Cleveland has been a strong partner with us in our effort to make a difference, and we're really proud of these investments that we continue to make in the community. But as everybody knows, the COVID-19 pandemic has altered our worlds and magnified broadband adoption challenges across our country. And now more than ever, the products and services that we provide have proven critical to the country's continued operation, ensuring our customers can work and learn remotely, stay informed, and keep connected with their loved ones. And we are proud to have been able to offer extensive support to our customers when they needed it most, while also delivering uninterrupted access during a record-breaking spike in demand. And these efforts were made possible by significant investments in and expansions of our network infrastructure and technology, which totaled nearly $40 billion over the past 5 years, with nearly $1 billion of that invested in Ohio alone in just the last 2 years. And as our world and the communities we serve continue to cope with the new challenges presented by COVID-19, we're here to be a part of the solution, working along elected officials and community leaders like you to help close the digital divide. As you may know, Charter has done our part to help ease the strain on millions of Americans by connecting nearly 450,000 students, teachers, and their families to broadband service for 60 days at no charge, keeping approximately 700,000 customers connected when they had a hard time paying bills because of COVID-related economic hardship, forgiving $85 million in customer overdue balances, partnering with the National Urban League and the National Action Network on a $10 million investment to increase low-interest capital to support Black and other minority-owned small businesses in underserved communities, donating $12 million in airtime to run COVID-related public service announcements, and opening up our Spectrum News websites to increase access to local news and information. Additionally,
not to be rude, but like, let's just assume Charter's great. Like a lot of these accomplishments are kind of nationwide and stuff. But we're kind of, in terms of how are we going to deal with the challenges that are in front of us? How are we going to?
Sure.
How can Charter be a partner in the challenges facing our K-12 students and the approximately 40% of people that don't have a regular internet connection?
Sure. Yep. So first and foremost, we are continuing to work with our customers to find a plan that matches their needs and their budget. And this includes, for qualified households, our low-income broadband service, Spectrum Internet Assist. This service, if you're not familiar, is available to seniors 65 and older who receive supplemental security income benefits, as well as households that qualify for the National School Lunch Program or the community eligibility provision of the school lunch program, which includes all CMSD students. This product is a 30 megabit download speed product for $17.99 a month. We've extensively promoted Spectrum Internet Assist since its introduction more than 3 years ago, including through direct marketing to pre-qualified households in Cleveland and throughout the country. We've also streamlined the application process to make it easier for these families and seniors to get connected, which includes providing dedicated toll-free number for these pre-qualified households to call to sign up, and ensuring that our customer service team is equipped to translate these inquiries into 200 different languages. But to your point, Mr. President, we've done even more in response to the challenges that have come about, especially in the last 6 months as we've all lived through this COVID pandemic.
Connie, before you go, can I ask you a question about the program you just described?
Sure.
So it's currently, and this is even pre-COVID, Spectrum runs a program for $17.99, and it's 30 megs up and down. Is that
30 megs down, 4 megs up.
okay?
30 over 4. Yep.
30 is significant down, to download, and that's been in existence.
Yes, that's been available since roughly 2017.
Okay. And about how many Cleveland families take advantage of that?
I don't have those numbers, and typically numbers at that level wouldn't be shared publicly for proprietary reasons, but hundreds of thousands of people across the country are participating in the service today.
Okay, I will follow up after this meeting on that, but that's very interesting in terms of like how do we use that service for our low-income residents to get them hooked up, and knowing that that's already, I'm assuming that it's already ready to go. Somebody could apply for that today and they could.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. Okay, so please continue.
Yep, absolutely. And then, Mr. President, we talked about wanting to bring to the committee today more information about our Stay Connected K through 12 service, which is something that we've developed, again, very quickly in response to the very immediate challenges faced by community leaders and schools in particular, as we're managing distance learning challenges and other things. So our Spectrum Enterprise team, which is the team that has the relationships with schools and government entities at that enterprise level, has developed Stay Connected K through 12 for schools to address the need to connect more students to online learning opportunities. So the service is designed quickly to deploy, so students have this robust, reliable, stable connectivity so they can have an effective online learning experience. And most importantly, for a city like Cleveland, where we are already here, it's a turnkey solution because the network is built here and it's available to nearly all residents here today. So schools in our service footprint, whether they're public, private, parochial, or charter, would have the ability to leverage our existing network to get service to currently unconnected student homes. Obviously, that piece takes that deployment and management and support off of the schools, and it is managed by Spectrum. This product is $29.99 per month per household, which is an all-in price guaranteed through the term of the agreement with the school district. And it's a 50 megabit download over 5 megabit upload speed, so even more than Spectrum Internet Assist. Obviously well above that broadband minimum definition. And that speed would provide and support video intensive remote learning and other collaboration applications that are being used by many educators and students in this new world of remote learning. The cost also includes in-home Wi-Fi, which allows multiple students and obviously others in the household to be connected at the same time. And with Spectrum, there are no data plans, there's no metered usage, no data caps, and no bandwidth throttling. And as I mentioned earlier, we have responded to the state of Ohio's RFI that they released or they announced in late July This is the K through 12 School Computer Products and Services Purchasing Directory. And I'm proud to say we were one of the first, if not the first companies to respond to the state RFI. And as I mentioned earlier, along with my written testimony, we've included the 2 documents that are it's kind of the cover page and then another 1-pager on this product that we submitted to the state as part of that RFI. So, we are in discussions at this point with a number of schools across the country and including Northeast Ohio and CMSD. And, from here, obviously, if you all have specific school leaders or districts that you would want us to connect with, we would be happy through our government affairs team to help facilitate those conversations with our Spectrum Enterprise team. But with that, President Kelly, I will wrap it up and be happy to take your questions here, but I appreciate you giving me some time to walk through our presence in the community.
Thank you, Connie. And I think what, there's a lot of discussion about digital divide. There's a lot of discussion about, ways to solve it. What Charter, what Spectrum has, though, is that pursuant to the original franchise agreement, it's a requirement to serve all of Cleveland. So there's no parts of Cleveland that are unserved. So I have 2 questions though that I wanted to ask. So first of all, this solution, I actually have the open up the attachment while we're talking. The State Connected K-12 program. Is that something that can be available to every school, every K-12 school in Ohio, or does it have to be a big, like a CMSD sized entity?
The great thing about this is, and again, our Spectrum Enterprise team has really developed this in real time as they've gotten feedback from school leaders. But through that feedback, the minimum kind of participation level, if you will, for a school, and again, the school is our customer, so the minimum connections that the school would have to deploy over the course of a year is 50. So that would be 50 households basically that would, over the course of a 12-month period, have to be signed up in order to participate. So a fairly low number and one that most schools would be able to reach, I imagine.
Great. So any K-12 in the city of Cleveland, public, private, parochial, charter, could take advantage of the K-12 program, so long as they had 50 in-need students that they would want to hook up.
That's correct, and I will add, similar to the announcement we made in March with our free services that we offered in response to COVID, where we did a 60-day free broadband connection. That was also eligible to educators who did not have connectivity at home, and the Stay Connected K through 12 would also apply to any educators within the schools who may not have broadband at home.
Great. And just emphasizing that, we don't have authority over, various school districts to do any of this, but we do have an interest in it. What is the capability in terms of the logistics and the manpower of Spectrum? What if a large school district would sign up for this tomorrow? Like, how quickly can you deploy to have homes actually hooked up and connected?
Yeah, well, that's the great thing about this product and building it into a company like ours, where we have, people on the ground ready to do this. Obviously, it depends on the volume and exactly what the details are of the agreement, but we would anticipate for this program, we would send out self-install kits in the mail to each individual household once this has all been arranged between the school, obviously, and our enterprise team. And from there, those self-install kits would be shipped as quickly as we could get them out the door, which is usually a matter of days, not months, or it's not a big turnaround time that we would anticipate.
Okay. So then if you look at the programs that are available to residents of the city of Cleveland, would the 1799 deal be available to CMSD kids if they met a certain income threshold? Because and the point I'm wanting to make is that 30 over 4 is pretty good. 50 is better, but generally speaking, if you're consistently getting 30 down, you're in a pretty good spot. So is that a program that would be available to kids meeting a certain income level already?
Yes. So because CMSD falls under one of the districts that basically every student in that district would qualify for National School Lunch Program, any family that would want to reach out to us today could call. And as I mentioned before, it's likely that many of them have received direct marketing from our company pre-qualifying them. But they could call in. We have those, that 1-800 number available, and they could through the school get documentation saying that they are eligible, and then they would start to work through that process with Stay Connected. Because this is an enterprise solution, the school is the customer, not the individual family. Whereas with Spectrum Internet Assist, that's a residential product, and so the customer is the individual versus Stay Connected, where the customer is the school.
And again, not negotiating for the schools because I don't have the authority to do so, but if a school district or a 50 plus operation would say, this is great, but I think we're pretty good with 30. Could the K-12 program be available at the 30 over 4 for $17.99 for something like CMSD or like some charter school system, Breakthrough Charter Schools or something?
So this product today is what is available. We again reacted in almost real time to all of the changes the world was facing since March, and the Stay Connected K-12 product is what has been put together, frankly, based on feedback that we've gotten from leaders around the country saying, in order to do these things, this is really what we would need out of this. And again, Spectrum Internet Assist is there for the individual. Because this is an enterprise solution, this is where we are today. It's not to say, something may look different next year. We didn't have this product a year ago, but today this is what the offering is.
Okay. So for those families, those households that are not connected in Cleveland, outside of the, let me get the right name, the Stay Connected K-12, the best option would be the, what did you call it? What's the term of the
Spectrum Internet Assist. And again, that's for a household that has the National Pre-Introduced Lunch eligibility, or seniors 65 and older who receive supplemental security income benefits.
Okay, so that's probably the best route or the best product that Charter Spectrum has to offer the households in Cleveland, low-income households in Cleveland, would be that Internet Assist program.
If it's a direct-to-consumer individual, it's available today, yes. And if there's not a school wanting to that they have to go through to get the K through 12 offer, then yes, Spectrum Internet Assist is where we would probably start with a lot of these families.
Great. Okay, because that's kind of the, at the end of the day, whoever can provide a service to our residents at a reasonable cost is where we want to be, because we have, we are at what I consider crisis level digital divide, both with and it's not just K-12 students that are facing this, it's people that are sent home to work remotely, but then they don't have a connection. So I'm very intrigued by this, and I'm most intrigued by the notion that of everything that's been discussed, Spectrum does have infrastructure in the ground ready to go, which makes it different than a lot of other solutions. That being said, it's all about cost, it's all about execution. So at this point, I would like to open it up for questions with just one caveat. Um, I would just ask people not to tell us about your billing problems with Spectrum or the customer who called and was waiting and the cable guy didn't come for a certain amount of time. So if we could just kind of stick to the issue of how do we get our households and our students and our workers connected. Councilman Brancatelli and then Councilman Griffin.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and certainly thank you, Connie, for being here today. And you did everything but raise your degree at Ohio State University. We're going to make you sing the fight song or something. And certainly thank you. I know you opened up the store in Steelyard Commons. Chris and his team were down there, and it's been a great asset. It's a great location for our residents because it's pretty centrally located for everyone to get to. And the staff there and the team there have been just amazing, very helpful folks. So they've done a good job. One of the questions that have come up, since we do have an older infrastructure from the bygone years of when cable first came into our city, what has been the upgrades, or what are we expecting for upgrades around connectivity when we talk about folks who have service go in or out, or it's not as strong a signal when you have 5 kids working on a platform? Because we do have that older technology in some of the urban areas.
Connie?
Well, thank you, Mr. President and Councilman. Thank you for that question. Our company is constantly investing, reinvesting in our network and the existing infrastructure. And just to the technology piece, because of the $40 billion roughly that we've put into our network nationally, and again, about $1 billion of that just in Ohio in the last 2 years alone, we now have, through our existing infrastructure, the ability to offer gig speeds to residential customers using the infrastructure that we've had in place for many years. So for us, because of the technological upgrades and investments that we continue to make, we are capable of delivering very high speeds. Usually a gig is typically more than most people need or purchase today. But we're able to do that under our existing infrastructure, again, because we're continuing to invest. And throughout the pandemic, obviously, we and other providers are constantly monitoring network traffic. We've obviously seen a change in when these peak demands are hitting our systems, because instead of people with demand spiking in the evening when everyone's home, now everybody's home during the day, and we're having much more intense traffic in the middle of the day because of calls like this and other things that people are doing now from their homes. So through our National Cable Association, actually, there's a website that's been monitoring the networks throughout the pandemic. And we've been able to manage and maintain our services and really, in very few instances, even hit the peak of what our network is capable of, again, because we've had this $40 billion that we've been investing almost constantly in upgrades and continued improvements.
Great. And the other question was, and I think you may have touched on that, but if we go a little deeper, the relationship on your cell phone and your partnership and your partnering with your cable as well. The cell phones, the smartphones have become an integral part of people's lives. And I know Councilman Griffin, as chair of the Health Committee, has been working on a lot of lead safe issues. And one of the tools that they're developing is families being able to go online and just look to see if a house is lead safe or who actually the owner is, and trying to come up with some apps like that. But the issue is still affordability. How are you linking that and tying that into your network?
Mr. President and Council, I do want to make sure I'm understanding your question.
Specifically
about Spectrum Mobile?
Yes.
Okay, so just for background, the way Spectrum Mobile works is if you are a Spectrum Internet customer, then you would be eligible to be a Spectrum Mobile customer. So the idea is when you're sitting in your home, your phone, your Spectrum Mobile phone will work through the wireless in your home and connect that way. outside of your home, if you're not on a Spectrum hotspot that we have throughout many communities we serve, you would be basically have an agreement with Verizon, and you'd be on the Verizon network at that point. But in your home, just like with other services we offer, there's bundling opportunities with mobile and internet, and then TV and voice if you wanted that. So I don't know if I answered your question.
Well, the bundling part is the affordability part, that if we can combine the discount internet service with the discount bundle for the smartphones, as
Okay.
families are out there.
So okay, yeah, sorry, I misunderstood. So
Yeah.
a family that would have Spectrum Internet Assist, for example, would be eligible to also have Spectrum Mobile. We don't have a comparable Spectrum Mobile plan that's like Spectrum Internet Assist. That's our broadband offering. But a family on Spectrum Internet Assist could bundle in order to get our mobile product. Is that?
Yeah,
Am I getting closer to your?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
because it is a discounted plan, and it's more affordable. So I wanted to know that would still be available.
Mhm.
And I think in terms of the turnaround time, you said that you're pretty live and current and being able to get folks connected quickly.
Yes. So our the way that the K through 12 service in particular would operate through Spectrum Enterprise, this would be a product that any home that is serviceable in our footprint, instead of us having to send someone out to hook them up, we could simply ship a modem to their home with very basic instructions to set up the network in their home. If they have problems, we would of course then send a technician out to help them. But the act of shipping out the equipment and the instructions they need to get connected, we anticipate would happen within a matter of days, again, not weeks or months. And they would be able to get connected once they're hooked up at home. And again, if they would run into any issues, they would have support that would come and help them complete the install if for whatever reason they had some issues with that.
Anybody who has a teenage kid at home will figure it out. Just like we try and put password protections on, they still figure out how to get around it. And are there any credit restrictions on for that sign up?
Because the Stay Connected K through 12 program is an agreement with a school district, there are not any kind of credit history issues or unpaid bill issues related to that, because the school is our customer, not the individual. So that issue is not applicable when talking about the Stay Connected K through 12 product.
And I know Council President brought this up in terms of who are some of the schools, and then we can just contact you directly to find out who are participating schools or connected schools that we have.
Yeah, right now, I know we're having a number of conversations and the list changes every day. And I'm frankly not even privy to all of the conversations our enterprise team is having. And again, because this is an enterprise product, our teams that are out doing this work every day are talking directly to the schools, often without our government affairs team being in the middle. But we could, as we mentioned, we've had a number of conversations with the leadership at CMSD and other schools. And also I think later this week are working with the Cleveland Foundation to have a discussion with the diocese about making sure that more parochial schools are aware, and if there's any other outreach we need to do to some of the non-traditional or public schools.
Great, thank you. Chris Thomas has been incredibly responsive. So whenever I have an issue, I've been able to reach out to him, and he's been very direct in responding. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Blaine Griffin.
Thank you. And just to follow up on what Councilman Brancatelli said, Chris has been very responsive whenever we have issues. So I do want to give him kudos for that. He pretty much asked a question that I was going to ask about parochial schools, private schools. There's a number of breakthrough schools and others that are affiliates, not of Cleveland Public Schools, but they also receive funding. So how are you, so you saying, are you working with those schools as well?
Yes, yes, and again, any public, private, charter, parochial would all be eligible for the product if they chose to do so. And if you have specific schools, Councilman, that you would want us to reach out to or work with, Chris and I would be, and Carol, as I mentioned, would be happy to try to facilitate conversations or meetings or whatever would be helpful here. To make sure that they have information about it. And again, the information that included with my written testimony has the RFI documents that we submitted to the state. So if any school is looking at that directory of options, we would be, I think, the first broadband connectivity service option listed on that state directory.
Okay, great. The other thing I was going to ask you is about, you got a lot of people opening up in churches as well as community centers and other locations, virtual learning centers. So because they're almost like daycares for parents that have to work or they are frontline workers or those kind of things. And you have churches that'll be having, 10, 15 children or young people that will be going to their facilities. Are they eligible for products like this as well?
I'd want to have our enterprise team speak to that directly. I mean, my understanding is that this K through 12 product is specific to schools. But again, we are always very open to doing what we can on our side to facilitate conversations, to look at each individual instance and see what possibilities or solutions exist. So again, if you have specific churches or community centers that are struggling with serviceability or capacity, we would be happy to take that and try to get them together with the right people on our team to look at this situation and see what solutions we might be able to bring forward.
Okay, and the reason that I'm asking that question is because there's been a rise. I know that I've gotten called, I don't know about my colleagues, but I've gotten a lot of calls from people that are doing them in churches and homes, so, even with people with their own children, they may have around, 4 or 5 children, and they're setting up entire rooms to try to be like virtual learning centers at home. So I'm pretty sure that that's something we want to look at. Councilman Brancatelli asked a lot of the questions that I was going to ask. The only side note I would like to have is you have a movement, a cut the cord movement with a lot of people who are, I'm traditional. I want to keep my cable because I like, the options that those things have, but a lot of seniors, especially some working families, can't afford cable like some of us may be able to, and they're moving towards streaming and online platforms. And the only thing that I would just encourage you to look at is, in addition to the young people that you're serving through this program, I would encourage your enterprise team to look at what we can do to lessen the impact on seniors. Seniors have a large growing population, and many of them cannot afford cable, and they're moving towards, platforms like Sling, Netflix, and Hulu, and other things like that. And they still need that internet connection. At some point in time, I hope that we hear what kind of, and also they need to be able to have access because of virtual doctor visits. So even though let's take the internet, let's take the entertainment aspect out of it. If it's just about doctor's appointment, or if you have an elderly person that's living in isolation and we need to be able to connect with that person or have somebody look in after them to make sure that they're okay and that they can communicate. I just hope that you're looking at products like that in the future as well. So I know that's not the product that you're talking about today. That's just my pitch for why you're here. If we could also consider looking out for those seniors. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're still on mute.
You have to unmute, Mr. Chair.
Call me Councilman Jones. Well, what I said was the seniors that, that Councilman Griffin referenced, would they be eligible for the Internet Assist Program at the 1799 level?
So seniors 65 and older receiving the supplemental security income benefits would
So both
qualify
prongs-
for that.
So they have to be both 65 plus receiving SSI and
Yes.
not regular. So just so we're all
Yes.
clear, that's an important distinction. Regular Social Security is not the supplemental disability. So that's, so if you're 65 and you're receiving regular Social Security, you would not qualify. So that's something we need to just keep our eye on as we move forward. And with that, I want to, I don't see any other hands up. I want to thank Ms. Luck for your presentation today. I have opened and I forwarded the document you sent to me to all members of council. And this is just a step on this journey that we want to take. And my biggest takeaway from our presentation today and where we are is that the program is pretty much shovel ready. If for those that choose to partake in it, the infrastructure's in the ground, it's ready to go when we execute. So that's kind of my main takeaway from today's presentation, and that it is a very plausible path for K-12 students. So if there's nothing further, I want to thank you again, Connie, for your presentation. And I want to thank everybody for their attendance, and we are adjourned if there's nothing further. Okay.
Thank you all.
All right.
Appreciate
Yeah.
it.